Hi, my name is Tim Crutcher, and this presentation is about culture conflict theory, understanding social tensions. It's important to know this presentation examines culture conflict theory in sociological context, and we're going to explore its origins, its key concepts, and applications to contemporary social issues. What's the origins of culture conflict theory? Well, in the 1930s development, Thorsten Selin first articulated culture conflict theory in his seminal work. His criminological focus shaped early theological foundations. Sociological integration by mid-century cultural conflict frameworks expanded beyond criminology. They became an essential tool for analyzing border social tensions. Its contemporary evolution, modern theorists have refined the approach. They've incorporated this in globalization, digital communication, and they've identified politics perspectives. The core theoretical premise, it's a clash of values. Tensions arise from competing norms. It's conduct norms, rules guiding appropriate behavior, and cultural expectations, socially transmitted standards. Uh, Culture conflict theory explains how social tensions emerge when difficult cultural groups and distinct uh, normative systems interact. These conflicts manifest in various social domains. The primary versus secondary cultural conflicts. The primary conflicts, they occur between fundamentally different culture systems, often seen in immigrant experiences or colonial contexts. An example, indigenous populations facing Western legal systems that contracted traditional government structures. Secondary conflicts, they arise within a single culture due to subgroup variations. They reflect on internal differentiation processes. Example, generational disputes over technology use within families sharing the same cultural background. Applying the framework to the crime. Number one, criminality as cultural deviation. Criminal behavior represents violations of dominant cultural codes. These codes reflect power structures rather than universal values. The legal system as cultural products. Laws codify specific cultural perspectives. They privilege certain cultural viewpoints over others. Differential association. Individuals learn deviant behaviors through cultural transmissions. This occurs within subcultures that normalize certain actions. The case study, immigration conflicts. Value system. Immigrants navigate between home, country values, and a host of country expectations. This creates sociological and social strain on that immigrant. Generational tensions. Children articulate faster than parents. This speed differential disrupts family power dynamics. Legal challenges. Cultural practices acceptable in one context may violate laws in another. This puts immigrants in impossible positions. Culture conflict in digital spaces. The global axis. Digital platforms connect previously isolated cultural groups. Interaction occurs without traditional mediating institutions. A lot of people are fighting indigenous groups by use of helicopters, and they actually get in trouble for it too. Communication norms. Online discourse norms vary by platform and community. Users must navigate multiple conflicts rules to set simultaneously. Contact regulation. Platform policies often reflect Western culture assumptions. This creates tension with non-Western user perspectives. Excuse me one second. Limitations of culture conflict theory. Oversimplification. The theory can reduce complex social dynamics to binary oppositions. The real cultural interactions involve a nuisance negotiations. Static view of culture. Traditional applications assume culture stability. Contemporary anthropology emphasis culture is dynamic, constantly evolving around the nature. Power blindness. Some formulations inadequately address power imbalances. The conflict occurs within a hierarchical structure, not a neutral space. culture conflict versus culture hegemony. The conflict perspective emphasizes active tension between culture systems, focuses on friction points between different normative codes. Hegelian perspective examines how dominant cultures maintain power, highlights consistent product through culture or institutions. Integrative analysis combines both viewpoints for comprehensive understanding and acknowledges both the overt conflict and subtle power dynamics. Methodological approaches. Immersive field studies captured live experience. Researchers observe cultural differences as they unfold naturally. The discourse analysis examining language reveals underlying cultural tensions. Rhetoric exposes normative assumptions and conflict viewpoints. The comparative studies, Junetix posing different culture scenarios, revealing patterns. This approach identifies common mechanisms across contexts. Contemporary applications. Culture conflict theory eliminates tension in environmental justice movements, religions, interactions, global trade disputes, and educational settings. Cultural conflict and identifying politics. Gender expression. Evolving gender norms create intergenerational conflicts. Traditional expectations clash with contemporary identity expressions. Racial narratives, competing interpretations of racial history create tension. Different groups develop conflicting narratives, shared events. Religious practice. Sacred obligation sometimes contradicts secular norms, beliefs navigate complex compromises and plethoric societies. Resolving the culture conflicts. Number one, recognition, acknowledging that people are different. Not everyone's the same, and that's perfect. That's what America is all about. Having a melting pot of people, dialogue, creating spaces for a meaningful exchange. A town hall is exactly what it should be. It should be a non-judgmental zone for people to come up and talk about their differences. Integration, developing new shared culture understandings. And this is why I love food trucks. What better way for someone to express their culture through than the art of cooking the food? It's a good way to learn somebody. I skipped ahead, but negotiations, finding a mutually acceptable compromises. Some things in cultures are not acceptable as others. And we could find ways around that to effectively all cohesively exist. A couple more slides. Research trends and future directions. Algorithmic culture, examining how AI systems perpetuate cultural bias. Environmental conflicts, analyzing tensions between conservation and developed values. Transitional identities, studying a culture navigating its increasingly mobile populations. Emerging research applies culture conflict frameworks to new dimensions. These applications enhance theoretical sophistication while addressing contemporary challenges. Last slide, and then I'm going to wrap this up here. The key takeaways and implications. The theory originated around 1938. Sillins Foundation work established enduring analytical framework. Conflict types. Primary and secondary conflicts require different intervention approaches. 3, research methods. Multiple methodological approaches yield complementary insights. Culture conflict theory offers a powerful lens for understanding social tensions. Its applications continue to expand to societies and become increasingly diverse and interconnected. And